Hello there, welcome to Yearly Reviews, the weekly web series reviewing the video games that I played for the year of 2020 because I had nothing better to do during a pandemic. So without further ado, let's jump right into this week's review. You know, as seen multiple times on this show, not every single great game is an ultra-realistic simulated because type of thing. I am not making sense right now. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that you don't need to look realistic for a game to be good. Now let's take a slight detour and look at one of my favourite game franchises, Mega Man. I've practically been a fan of Mega Man since I was a young and dumb boy, but I never got around to playing the games. But now, or more accurately the last 2 years or so, I played them, and it certainly is a fun experience. Why exactly do I bring Mega Man up? After all, we're not talking about Mega Man today, it's not in the title of the video. Well, today we're going to talk about a game that seems to be heavily inspired by Mega Man, that of course being Shovel Knight. In a faraway land of generic fantasy land 11037, there were two knights working as a duo, Shield Knight and the protagonist of the game, Shovel Knight. But one day they both went inside of the treacherous Tower of Fate and were separated. Sometime later, a figure calling themselves the Enchantress is causing havoc across the land with the help of a band of rogues calling themselves the Order of No Quarter. So Shovel Knight has to defeat each and every one by one, but it surely won't be easy. He'll be going across a haunted graveyard, a flying airship, a molten cave, and a giant submarine, all the while defeating every rogue with the most intimidating weapon. A shovel. I mean, hey, it worked in Team Fortress 2. So let's start with how this game controls. It controls decently enough. Platforming between levels and hitting stuff is good to do, and as you can see from the 8-bit graphics and the overall layout of the levels, the comparisons to Mega Man should now be apparent. Speaking of, this game looks great, especially the background designs, but it certainly is fun to play, just like a Mega Man game. I really like the multiple settings that every layer in the game has, and they can range from just normal fantasy settings to a setting full of Victorian-style machinery. The game also tries to add humour to the mix. For example, one of the knights from No Quarter is obsessed with being a king, and as a result he hijacks a palace and takes over. If that doesn't tell you how absurd the game gets, then I don't know what else will. So by all of these points, you'd probably think that I'd absolutely adore this game. Well, yes and no. I do like it, but it's not in my top 25 games of all time. Maybe it'd make the top 30, but as for 25? No. I didn't really like the encounters that you had with the other travelers. Sure, you can argue that they changed the pace of the game, but I just found them to be a bit pointless, which can also be said for these, as I like to call them, campfire dream sequences. I felt that there was something missing with the game, I just can't place my finger on it, but I think that if that missing thing was there, then maybe I would adore this game. Keep in mind that this is definitely not a bad game, it is certainly enjoyable, but I just find that it could be better somehow. But now we have to conclude the video. In a sense, Shovel Knight is like an old NES game. It's 8-bit and it certainly feels the same for one. This game also has a wide fanbase, so I'm not the only person who thinks the game is pretty good. Not to mention, I played the Treasure Trove version, which contained 3 DLCs and a bonus fighting game inside, and there's tons of other stuff that I didn't mention. If you also want to check out another game from the people who had a hand in Shovel Knight, then go play Cyber Shadow. It's another game reminiscent of old games, except this time it's 16-bit instead of 8-bit. And from what I can assume, it's also reminiscent of another NES game. Just like how Shovel Knight is like Mega Man, Cyber Shadow was like Ninja Gaiden. But I'm getting off track, go and play Shovel Knight already. Hey there, it seems you made it to the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more reviews in the future. If you want to see earlier reviews, you can check out a playlist on my channel which has every review thus far. Also, feel free to go onto my Twitter, which has a thread of tweets showing which games I'm reviewing for this series and under 250 characters. And as always, thanks for watching.